Hey YouTube, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a different kind of video for you guys. I created 30 new classic teams in NBA 2K25. Not all of these teams are championship teams or teams that should be in the game because they're good, but teams that would be very fun to use, especially like the Team Mac Magic. Not just fun to use, but also teams that should have been in the game a very long time ago. There's many different teams on here, and as you can see on the roster, teams do have the right logos. You can do that all on a My NBA. For the roster itself, I do not have that saved since I am on console. This roster took a very long time to make, so it's greatly appreciated if you guys leave a like on this video. And before we get things started, I will say this is not a fully finished product. The coaches are not updated, so if you were to use this roster and you wanted a fully accurate one for a My NBA, you can go in and edit the coaches, the playbooks, etc. to your liking. And without further ado, let's get right into it, starting off with the 1982-83 76ers. This team won an NBA championship and finished with the record of 65-17. And with this team, you get MVP Moses Malone, also Julius Erving, Bobby Jones, Mo Cheeks, and Andrew Toney to finish out the starting lineup. And yeah, this was a team that used to be in 2K. I remember back in like 2K16, this team was in the game, and I'm not really sure why they ever took them out. This is a very solid team, and one that's very fun to use. Next up, we have the 1966-67 76ers. This team also won an NBA championship and finished with a record of 68-13. And with this team, you get prime Wilt Chamberlain. He won MVP this year. But you also get Hal Greer, Chet Walker, Billy Cunningham, and Luke Jackson. This is by far one of the best teams on the roster and a very fun team to use. Now, the bench is not the greatest, but you have to think back to the 1960s. These guys were playing almost the entire game. And what else is there to say? You get to use prime Wilt. Next up, we have the 2000-2001 Bucks. They finished with the 52-30 record, and this is a young Ray Allen paired up with Glenn Robinson, Sam Cassell, a young Michael Redd, and Tim Thomas. For 2K purposes, this is a very fun team to use. You have very good shooting, and who wouldn't want to use a young Ray Allen? Next up, we have the 2017-2018 Cavs. This team made it to the NBA Finals and finished with a record of 50-32. This is arguably the best version of LeBron. Think back to 2018 LeBron, but you also get Kevin Love, Jordan Clarkson, Tristan Thompson, George Hill, and a lot of very solid role players. Yes, this is a very average team, but I thought it'd be fun to put 2018 LeBron on the roster. Next up, we have the 2016-2017 Celtics. They finished with a 53-29 record, and Isaiah Thomas finished top 3 in MVP voting. There's a lot of different teams I thought to put for the Celtics, but I ultimately chose this team just because of Isaiah Thomas and how fun it would be to have him on the roster. But you also have Al Horford, Avery Bradley, Jay Crowder, and a rookie Jaylen Brown. Next, we have the 2014-2015 Atlanta Hawks that finished with a 60-22 record, and this is the team that had 4 All-Stars with Paul Millsap, Al Horford, Jeff Teague, and Kyle Korver, not to mention guys like DeMar Carroll and Dennis Schroeder off the bench. This was a very solid team in the regular season, but as we saw in the playoffs, they weren't title contenders nonetheless. This would be a pretty fun team to use in 2K. We have another Hawks team. This time it's the 1970-71 Hawks. They finished with a 36-46 record. Obviously nothing great, but this team used to be in the game, so I thought I'd add them back. And you get a rookie Pete Maravich here, along with Lou Hudson, Walt Bellamy, Walt Hazard, and Bill Bridges. And if you remember when this team was in the game, they barely had any players. Like Walt Bellamy wasn't on the game, Hazard wasn't on the game, and I think Bill Bridges only was in 2K16. Next up, we have the 1991-92 Jazz. They finished with the 55-27 record. And with this team, you get prime Karl Malone and John Stockton alongside Jeff Malone. And yes, the supporting cast is not very good. This is obviously a very hard team to use in 2K due to the lack of shooting, but nonetheless, you get prime Karl Malone and John Stockton, one of the best duos of all time. Next up, we have the 1992-93 Knicks that finished with the 60-22 record. This is just a couple years prior to the team that's already on the game with the 94-95 Knicks, but this team has guys like Anthony Mason, Doc Rivers, and an older Rolando Blackman that only played 2 years with the Knicks. And while this roster is very similar to the team that's already on the game, it's still a pretty fun team to have and a team that should be in the game. Next up, we have the 2009-2010 Lakers, the team that won an NBA championship, and they finished with the 57-25 record. I was torn on whether I should have the 08-09 Lakers or the 09-10 Lakers. I chose the 2010 Lakers just because I think this team is more memorable and more iconic, and it's still crazy how this team's not in the game. This is definitely a team that should have been added to 2K probably a decade ago, but you get prime Kobe Bryant, Pau Gasol, Ron Artest, Lamar Odom, and Andrew Bynum. If you like playing with post and having a big front line, you have Lamar Odom, Bynum, and Gasol, one of the best post trios probably the last 25 years. Next up, we have the 2002-2003 Magic. They finished with the 42-40 record, and the only reason this team's on the game is because of Tracy McGrady and Grant Hill. Yes, Grant Hill is pretty old, and he had a lot of injuries in real life, but for 2K, this team is perfect. and who wouldn't want to play with the prime Tracy McGrady? Next up, we have the 08-09 Magic, a team that made the NBA Finals and finished with a record of 59-23. You get a young prime Dwight Howard with Hedo Turkoglu, Rashard Lewis, Michael Petras, and Jameer Nelson, with Rafer Alston off the bench. And just like the 09-10 Lakers, this team is long overdue for being added to the game, and I'm not really sure why they haven't. Next up, we have the 1986-87 Mavericks that finished with the 55-27 record, and this is another team I added with Rolando Blackman. This time he's younger and in his prime, but not only him, you get a young Mark Aguirre, who's only on the Pistons in the actual game on the Classic team, and those two form one of the best duos on this roster, along with Brad Davis, Sam Perkins, and Roy Tarpley. Now we have the 2013-2014 Nets that finished with the 44-38 record, and if you remember, this is the team that had Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Darren Williams, Joe Johnson, and Brooke Lopez. You won't find a better team in terms of names on the roster, but yes, some of these guys are out of their prime, as you can see with Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett at an 82 and an 80 overall. I just thought this would be a fun team to add, and I wasn't really sure what other Nets team to have, since we already got the team in the game that went to the NBA Finals. Next up, we have the 1975-76 Nuggets that finished with the 60-24 record. With this team, you get a prime David Thompson and Dan Issel, along with one of the most underrated guards in the 1970s, Ralph Simpson, but also a young Bobby Jones before he went to the 76ers. I was struggling to decide what Nuggets team to add, whether it was a David Thompson team or a team in the 80s with Alex English. I went with the young David Thompson and Dan Issel, and no doubt this is one of the best teams on this roster and one of the more fun teams to use. Next up, we have another team that was very hard to choose what version of them I wanted, so I went with the 1997-98 Pacers that finished with a 58-24 record. And this way you get a Reggie Miller that's only 31 years old and a Rick Smith that's only 30. And they do have an older Chris Mullin. While he was old, he could still shoot the ball very well. You also have Jalen Rose and Mark Jackson to round out the starting lineup. Next up, we have the 2017-2018 New Orleans Pelicans that finished with a 48-34 record. And yes, this is the team that traded for DeMarcus Cousins, pairing him with Anthony Davis and Drew Holiday. And there's very little question to what team I was going to add for the Pelicans, as when healthy, this team could have been very good and very fun to watch. But on 2K, this is one of the best post duos on the entire roster. Next up, we have the 05-06 Pistons, a couple years after the team that's already on the game, the 04 Pistons that won an NBA title. But this team went 64-18 and just came up short in an NBA championship. I thought I'd add them because they do have Antonio McDyess, and a lot of these guys are still in their prime, like Rasheed Wallace and Tayshaun Prince. And while the bench isn't great, it's a lot better than what we had on the game with the 04 Pistons. Next up, we have the 2015-2016 Raptors that finished with the 56-26 record. There isn't much more to say other than you get DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, a little bit of nostalgic vibes here, as you get a prime Toronto Raptors team from the 2010s. Like I said, there isn't much more to say other than this is just a classic 2K team. Next up, we have the 1985-86 Rockets that finished with a 51-31 record, making the NBA Finals. Much like the 2017 Pelicans team that I added, this team has another great post duo with Hakeem Olajuwon and Ralph Sampson. If you love using post, this is definitely the team for you. Next up, we have the 2017-2018 Rockets that finished with the 65-17 record, and you get MVP James Harden, along with Chris Paul, Eric Gordon, Clint Capella, and Gerald Green. If you remember, this is the team that got the 1 seed in 2018 and lost to the Warriors in 7 games. And while they're known for missing 27 straight threes, this team was very good in the regular season and dominated the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. Next up, we have the 1963-64 Royals, led by MVP Oscar Robertson. This team finished with the 55-25 record, but they also had Jerry Lucas and Wayne Embry to form a very good trio. And in the simulation I did with this roster just a couple days ago, this team started the year 30-1 after losing their first game going on a 30-win streak. So I think it's pretty fair to say this team is very good on 2K. Next up, we have the 2015-16 Spurs that finished with the 65-15 record. And with this team, you get Kawhi Leonard in his prime, you get LaMarcus Aldridge at an 89 overall, alongside an older Tim Duncan at 39 years old. And then you have obviously guys like Tony Parker, Patty Mills, and Manu Ginobili. This is just a very solid Spurs team overall, and one that I thought should be in the game. Next up, we have the 1992-93 Suns that finished with the 62-20 record, led by MVP Charles Barkley. But not only him, you had guys like Kevin Johnson, Tom Chambers, and Dan Marley. And I'm 100% convinced if Charles Barkley allowed 2K to use his rights, I think this team would have been added about 10 years ago. It's such an iconic team and one that fans have been asking for a long time. Next up, we have the 1978-79 Supersonics. This team won an NBA championship with a record of 52-30, led by Jack Sikma, Gus Williams, Dennis Johnson, and Fred Brown. While this team might not be the greatest for 2K, this team is very fun and a very historic team nonetheless. A lot of people think of Dennis Johnson on the Boston Celtics, but before the Celtics, he was one of the best point guards in the NBA on the Supersonics, and I thought it'd be fun to have a team with him and Jack Sikma. Next up, we have the 2015-2016 Oklahoma City Thunder that finished with the 55-27 record, and when it came to deciding what Thunder team to use, we already got the team with James Harden, Westbrook, and Kevin Durant, so I thought why not add Durant, Westbrook in a team that went to the conference finals, and if it wasn't for a blown 3-1 lead, they very well could have won a championship. This is certainly a team I would enjoy seeing back in the game, even though we already have the 2011-12 Thunder. Next up, we have the 2017-2018 Timberwolves that finished with the 47-35 record. Now, I know this team didn't do anything special. They got an 8 seed, but I thought it'd be a fun roster to use. You got guys like Karl-Anthony Towns, Jimmy Butler, Andrew Wiggins, and Jeff Teague, but also Derrick Rose. While he's only 29, this was towards the end of his career. Not only that, I wasn't really sure what other Timberwolves team to add, as we already have MVP Kevin Garnett on the roster right now. But you guys let me know down below what Timberwolves team you would have added. Next up, we have the 1976-77 Trailblazers. This team won an NBA championship with a record of 49-33, led by Bill Walton and Mo Lucas, another very good post duo added to the roster. And much like a few of the other teams already mentioned, this is a team that I'm surprised isn't on the game already. They won an NBA championship, and it would give Bill Walton his own team. Next up, we have the 1975-76 Warriors with a record of 59-23. They were led by Rick Barry and Jamal Wilkes. This is another team that would be very fun to use on 2K if it was officially added. That's why I thought it'd be a good idea to add them to the roster. Not only Rick Barry, but you get Phil Smith, Clifford Ray, and Gus Williams once again. This is overall just a very fun team. And the last team of the video is the 1977-78 Bullets. This team won an NBA championship with a record of 44-38. Much like the Trailblazers team we just mentioned 2 teams ago, this team won an NBA championship, and I'm not real sure why they're not in the game. 2K has the rights to a lot of these guys, and it gives people the opportunity to use Wes Unseld, Elvin Hayes, prime Bob Dandridge, as he's already on the team on the 71 Bucks, but this version of him is much better. And they also have Phil Chenier. This was a no-brainer for what team to add for the Washington franchise. Now, if you guys want to download this roster yourself, just go to Roster Share, type in All Time by TSG Zach YT, and it looks just like this on the screen. Go ahead and download that. But also, if you guys had the 2K Share under My NBA, you click on My NBA 2K Share Scenarios, start a new save slot, and then just type in 30 new teams, TSG Zach YT, and this will give you the logos and the rosters as I just shown you. But like I said at the beginning of the video, if you want to go in and do it yourself and do your own branding, logos, jerseys, that type of thing, just download the roster and start a My NBA. And remember, if you do use this scenario, you still have to update the coaches and the playbooks to your liking, and then you'll be all set to go. And with that, that's going to do it for today's video, guys. I appreciate all you guys watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. And with that, I will see you all in the next video.